Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. My goodness, by the way, my eyes are a little bit watering today because I put sun cream on because I did get a little bit pink yesterday and they decided to water just before I came on air. Anyway, hello and welcome. And we have a little bit of a story that I wasn't expecting to break today. So, let's cast our mind back to, I think it was round about January, where pictures of Harry and Meghan's Oxfordshire Cotswolds home appeared literally all over the media, over YouTube, on the internet, Instagram stories, Twitter, everywhere. And originally, there were just two sets of photos. Well, there was one set of photos and then there was another set of photos. So, the ones which I saw first were the ones which were taken as part of, I suppose, the renovation works of that cottage. So, no, not cottage, this sort of farm estate. So the home that they were in had been renovated. And there were two photos, an aerial photo and one a little bit closer to the property, which were ones taken before Harry and Meghan even moved in, probably about 6 years, just shortly after the renovation works were carried out. And those photos were public. They were public photos as part of the renovation documents which form as part of UK planning. So the two photographs which I saw, which leaked first, were those photographs, a really old aerial photograph and one on the ground. Now, ones that I didn't use on my channel, which, to be honest, I'm just so glad that I have the right kind of judgment call, because there were some other photos which were taken by literally an agency had hired a helicopter or a plane or something to fly over the property, knowing full well that Harry and Meghan were in there at the time. And I believe this happened after those original photographs were sort of revealed to the public. And they managed to get some photographs, some aerial photographs of the property, including ones where you could just see a little bit inside the living, dining room area and a little portion of the bedroom. Now, they decided to publish those, sell those, and of course they were taken on by media organisations all across the world, and those photographs were put out. Now, what I didn't know until today was that Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, did actually sue for damages. So, the purpose of that obviously was to protect their privacy. They felt that that was a complete breach of their privacy, which I have to say, I agree. To be able to look inside their home at their things and everything else was just not on. It wasn't fair. And it was an invasion of privacy. Now, at the time, I think on certain outlets reported that Harry and Meghan were moving out of the Oxfordshire home and into Frogmore Cottage. Now, we know in hindsight, at the time, Frogmore wasn't ready. So, in effect, what they actually did was move back full-time to Kensington Palace, to Nottingham Cottage, because they felt hounded and forced out of their Oxfordshire Cotswolds home, which at the time we didn't know. And all of the media were sort of reporting that it was because Frogmore was ready. Turns out, I think that was a cover story, because they knew full well, just as I was saying on this channel, that at that time Frogmore was not ready. So I think they were trying to cover their backs. I think they got wind at the time that Harry and Meghan were going to sue, and I think they were trying to cover their backs by saying, oh, well, actually they've moved because Frogmore's ready. But what they weren't telling us was that no, Harry and Meghan had moved because they felt hounded and forced out of the home because of the pictures that were taken and then subsequently sold and bought and published by numerous news outlets all over the world. Oh my goodness. So I wasn't expecting that story today. Now, I am going to read a little bit about it, and it does have this is actually from Chris Shipp. So I'm going to read this, and it says, Prince Harry awarded damages for pictures which undermined his safety. So let's carry on. Prince Harry has been awarded a substantial sum in damages after pictures were taken of his private home in Oxfordshire. Well, of course, it was a rented home, but nevertheless, still a private residence. He has also received an apology from the paparazzi agency, which Harry acknowledges and welcomes. But he no longer feels able to live at the property. As we know, he did actually move out with Meghan. Now, the statement from the agency, by the way, is Splash News, and they say, and this is direct quotes, Splash has always recognised that this situation represents an error of judgment, and we have taken steps to ensure it will not be repeated. We apologise to the Duke and Duchess for the distress we have caused. And that is the official apology from Splash. The Duke of Sussex instructed his lawyers to act after the picture agency Splash hired a helicopter to take photographs of the house which Harry and Meghan were renting in Oxfordshire. The helicopter flew over the property at low altitude, which allowed the Splash photographer to take pictures directly into the bedroom of the house, as well as living and dining areas. I mean, in the bedroom, really? It happened in January, before the birth of the Duke and Duchess's son Archie. Well, of course, we know that. Lawyers for the royal family from the firm Harbottle and Lewis successfully argued in court that the pictures were taken for commercial gain, and they breached the Duke's right to privacy under Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights. The pictures of Harry and Meghan's home appeared in the Times newspaper and in other online publications 2 days later. Harry's solicitors have since attempted to remove the photographs from those websites, so I think if you see them, maybe report them, whatever. But it was made clear in the statement to the court that Prince Harry and Meghan are no longer able to live at the property, which they rented privately, because the publication of the pictures seriously undermined the safety and security of the Duke and their home. According to Harry's lawyers, Splash has agreed to stop any further sales of the images and will not attempt to take aerial pictures of the Duke and Duchess's home, which would infringe on their privacy. It is understood that the damages and legal costs awarded to Harry will be donated to charity. So I think what's going to happen is, by the way, it is an undisclosed sum. We do not know how much those damages were, but it's understood that part of those damages will cover Harry and Meghan's legal costs, because of course that is not an expense which they should have had to incur in the first place. But any money over what it actually cost to defend their privacy is going to be donated to charity, of which we do not know what that charity is. So there we go. That is the situation, and that is the tea as we know it today. So I want to go now, of course I do, to the chat room so I can see all of you, welcome all of you, and take some comments. So I'm gonna, oh yes, here you are. I can see you all coming up. Let's put it on live chat first of all. There we go. Lots of people saying hello, first of all. Yes, hello to everybody. Margaret says, I saw this news story already, and I was so grateful that someone in the royal family had finally fought back. But like I said, I did say this in a previous live chat, not so long ago, I can't remember which one, but I did say that sometimes there are lines, such as when the press took those photographs of Catherine when she wasn't wearing a top, and they published those. You know, that was a clear line, a clear breach, and William and Catherine did take legal action in that case. You know, the royal family will take a lot. They most certainly will take a lot. You know, rumours, gossip, lies, all that kind of nonsense. I think they understand that if they fight back against those things, it will make it worse. However, there is a line, there is a clear line, and that is crossing the line. That level of invasion, taking pictures inside your windows, is just not on. Taking pictures of your body when it's obviously not supposed to be seen is not on. There are clear, I think, red lines, and that one most definitely breached it in full. Julie says, hello Elliot, I'm glad that he won. I would have been the same way. A helicopter taking photos of the bedroom. Exactly. I mean, whose good idea was that? if it can even be described as a good idea. It was a terrible idea. Leonette Woody says, I'm glad Harry has taken the splash to court and there are no more to come. I mean, yes, it has solved the fact that I think people now know that to get any kind of photographs of a royal home in that kind of way is just not on. I mean, obviously there are a few existing photographs of Frogmore Cottage, but I think now that Harry and Meghan have moved in and they are actually in, that is now completely off limits. And we know that over Frogmore, it's a no drone area. In fact, I think over the whole of Windsor Castle, it's a no drone area, no drones. It's a royal protection zone. So if any photographs do emerge of Frogmore Cottage, they shouldn't be out there, and I would seriously question whether or not you click on it to look. Alicia says the fact that they donated the money to charity shows they are amazing people. Of course. Margaret says, when the royal family is out at work, then fine, take all the pictures you want, but when they are in their private homes on their own, leave them alone. Yes, I would quite agree. There is a difference between when you're at work and when it's obviously private time. And there we go. Minnie Lars says, I thought places like that are no-fly zones. Well, at the time, the Cotswolds home was supposed to be kept secret. Now, we are aware that at the time, lots of news agencies did know where it was, but they decided not to go with the story. Now, I can't remember who it was who very, very first broke where it was. I mean, I think it was one of the Sunday newspapers in the UK, but I can't remember who it was. But somebody broke it. And like I say, somebody used, not the photographs we're talking about now. Initially, it was the ones from the renovation works before Harry and Meghan moved in. And they revealed the location, and they revealed these two photographs that were part of the renovation planning works. So those were prior to Harry and Meghan moving in. What we're talking about now is, once that was then out there, they obviously sent a helicopter over, took those photographs, and then, those were the really intrusive photographs that we're talking about now. Liv Love Nass says, I'm glad Harry sued them. Thinking about it, those photos did really look intrusive. Sheila says, and the media wonder why Prince Harry and Meghan don't like them. Well, I mean, it certainly explains to me, now that this has come out, why they wanted everything to be so private around the birth. I mean, why on earth would you want to give people access to something really private and personal when something really private and personal has been kind of stolen from you and you feel violated? I mean, they must have felt violated to have someone taking pictures of your land inside the house, inside your bedroom. It's disgusting, and they just must have felt violated, just to say the least. Margaret says, I know you do not advocate the royal family suing the tabloids, but I totally disagree with you. It won't stop if they don't. I agree in terms of what they've done now. I do. I mean, like I say, there are lines, and I totally think the Catherine topless photos was a line. This most definitely is a line. When it comes to all these little tittle-tattle stories, the lies about the feud and all of that business, I am of the opinion that I think it would make it worse if they sued. Purely because if they sue, it shows that they are making some kind of statement back about it not being true. So therefore the media will just keep doing more and more stories, more and more fake stories, just to get a response. So then they can do another story saying, oh no, well, they've said it's not true. So it's like getting double the bang for your buck. And the royal family understand that is not good. So that's why they don't do it. I mean, have you ever thought about why they don't do it? There is a reason why they don't do it. And that is the reason, because it will make it worse. I know people don't think it will, but it would. It would encourage them to write even more and more stories just to get a response. So it's almost like feeding the monster. If you keep feeding the beast, it'll keep coming back. And what they want is the attention, and they want the comment on their own fake stories. So I can understand why the royal family don't, but I can also fully understand why there are certain red lines that shouldn't be crossed, and when they do go across those lines, that is fair game. Sue. Vicky P says, it's interesting how some royal reporters are silent about this matter. I have noticed. The reports reported that they lived out of that home because they couldn't afford it instead of admitting what they did. And there are also now certain YouTube channels which are now going on about all of this. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, but you actually published the photographs. So at the time, they published the photographs and got literally hundreds of thousands of views. I chose not to publish those photographs, apart from the initial two that were the renovation photographs before Harry and Meghan moved in. But the ones that we're talking about with the intrusive ones, I chose not to do that. And I think I made a very good call of judgment on that because I knew that was wrong, and I can't believe that other people didn't see that that was wrong too. So I'm 100% glad. I feel vindicated. I feel vindicated that actually my decision to forego the views was the right thing to do. And you know, I didn't want to. I didn't want to use any agency photographs for a start anyway, and I certainly didn't like the look of them when it came to the whole privacy thing. So yes, I'm glad I did take that stance. But a lot of these channels now that are going on about that they sued and they won and how good it is, think back because they actually published those photographs. James Medford says, is it true the Sussexes have been given an apartment at Buckingham Palace, but what about renovation? Well, I spoke about this yesterday, and I've always said that I thought that they wouldn't give up London completely. I always felt it was a little bit odd to give up Nottingham Cottage and have no base in London, especially when a lot of work is done in London. So just like the Queen's other children, they do have bases in London in either St James's Palace or Buckingham Palace. Now, what we don't know is if rooms are available. We don't know if rooms are being made available. We don't know if rooms are being renovated. There has been no official comment on this whatsoever. So at the moment, it is speculation, but it is a good guess because I always felt that they would have at least some kind of accommodation within London if they need it to stay overnight or whatever. I mean, I certainly don't think it will be their main base. Their main base, as they've said, is going to be Frogmore. So if they do end up with somewhere in Buckingham Palace, then great. But it could also be St James's Palace. Or it could even be Clarence House. I mean, you know, Clarence House, where Charles and Camilla live, is a big property. I mean, there's no reason why they couldn't have a couple of rooms, a few suite of rooms at Clarence House, if they weren't even going to plan to spend terribly too much time there. So it is possible. In fact, I think it's almost certain that they will get somewhere in London as a little pied-à-terre, you know, just somewhere to sort of stop over if they need to, just like the Queen's other children. But it's not official. We don't know that that actually is the case. So we wait with bated breath, but I think it's probably highly likely. Soul Cage says, I really like the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Good on them. They are going to have to leave the country if the press keeps hounding them. But I don't think they have to do that. I think, you know, as soon as these red lines are crossed, if they do what they're doing, hopefully it will calm things down. Live, Love and Laugh says, I'm surprised the media didn't get wind of them suing that publication. I think they knew, but they didn't say anything. They were waiting to see what happened. I'm sure it would have... There's bugs everywhere. I am sure it would have been misconstrued. There would have been all kinds of false reports. Margaret says, yes, but would Splash have said this if the Duke had not sued them? I don't think so. They would have probably continued to have them on their portfolio to sell. Julie Miller says, I too am glad someone in the royal family has fought back against the media. Kimberly says, did you see on Twitter the Prince William's award? I haven't. I will check that out later. Annie says, it's like poor Princess Diana revisited. No wonder Harry loathes the press, and I hope he and Meghan keep on suing until they get the message. Stephanie thinks it's so sad and a shame. By the way, I'm going to kind of go a bit down to the bottom of the comments. Sorry if I've missed anything really important. I just want to make sure that I'm being current. Karen says, you made a moral call to not publish those photos. I think that is why your site is steadily growing. Many media outlets choose money over integrity. They do. most definitely. Right, just going up. Margaret says, I read somewhere that the Duke and Duchess of Wessex, is that? Of West? Do you mean Wessex? I think you mean the Earl and Countess of Wessex. Spend their weeks in London at Buckingham Palace apartments and weekends at their country home. No. I mean, if you're on about the Earl and Countess of Wessex, I think they mostly spend their time at Bagshot Park. It's huge. It's on the Windsor Estate, and it's a massive, mostly. You don't really hear of the property much, but it's Bagshot Park, and it's huge. It's a huge home. But yes, the Earl of Wessex does have a suite of rooms at Buckingham Palace, and they will all have use of that, the Wessexes, if they need to, when they're in London. Michael says, thank God that Frogmore... oh, yeah, the drone bans, I think, were a really, really good thing to put in. Sheila says, very well done for not publishing and showing those photographs. Elaine says, the UK is the best country in the world. Go to live there, you feel best. Well, I do like living in the UK myself too. Claire Green says, my little girl being mixed race wanted to work for the Sussexes, but she said to her teacher today that she will not work for the royal family because they are not kind to mixed people. Oh my goodness, that's awful. Well, no, and I think she's wrong, because the royal family themselves are not bad to anybody of any ethnicity. What you're actually seeing is what the press have been doing, or rather the lower grade media, I should say. But in terms of the royal family, I think you need to show her the picture. You need to show your daughter the picture of the Queen, Archie, Meghan, Doria, Philip and Harry. Because I think that photograph just shows the acceptance, what is in the royal family. So show her that photo, would be my advice. Julie says, at least you preserved your integrity. Totally. Vanessa says, I wonder what vomit will come out of the mouth of the DM's own PM. I have no idea. Michael says that was too much intrusion, and to think they chose the property for privacy and someone goes to helicopter length. Yeah, it was terrible. Liv Lovenass says, I think the British royals do generate money than most royals around the world. It was William and Catherine when they got married, and now Harry and Meghan. Yes, I mean, there was so much hype around William and Catherine when they first got married and were starting out their real life together, and things settled down. Things have gone a lot more calm with William and Catherine over the years. And I think the same will kind of be said for Meghan and Harry. However, what we don't have, what we didn't see, I think, with William and Catherine, as with Harry and Meghan, is there is a lot more, I think, feeling in the Commonwealth and perhaps in America in particular when it comes to Meghan. And yes, Catherine was admired from all over the world when she first got married to William, and still is as well today. People still follow her fashion and the things that she does. People still have an interest, but it's kind of calm. It's just gone to a reasonable level. What we don't know with Meghan, I think things will calm with Harry and Meghan, and Archie as well. Everything's still very new at the moment. But the unknown thing we don't know is, I think Meghan has attracted a lot more royal watchers to the royal family, and we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I think the interest will still be there, but it will be perhaps a little bit large. I mean, already we have, let's go and do the Instagram check, which I like to do this almost every session, to see how many new Instagram followers they have. We're now up to 8 million. Now, I think Kensington Royal has something like 8.5 million or something of that nature. In fact, let me go and check. So 8 million already. So that they've almost caught up from a new account. Kensington Royal, 8.8 million. So they're only 800,000 followers away from surpassing Kensington Royal, which has been a long-established Instagram account for many, many years. And it's probably safe to say that some of those 8.8 million probably came because of Harry and Meghan, well, when Meghan joined anyway. So I think they're on track to overtake the Kensington Royal account. I mean, it's not a race, it's not a competition, but it just goes to show and illustrate my point that there is, I think, a lot more overseas attention and fandom as well. Although I prefer to call it royal watching, but yes, there are probably a lot more overseas fans from the Commonwealth, America in particular. Um, People of different ethnic backgrounds, which maybe wouldn't have felt that they had a connection with the royal family, now feel that they do through Meghan. Um, there's this whole thing about the American princess and all this business. So I think we'll have to wait and see, but I think things will calm a little. Hello to everyone who's just joined, 417 watching now. Let's have a look. Nelly says, hope the real reporters got their message. The Sussexes won't let anyone abuse them anymore. Good for them. Yes, 8 million in 2 months. It's amazing. Danielle says, Caroline of Monaco always sues newspapers who breach our privacy laws and publish private photographs of her family. She donates the money to charities, famous or not. We are all entitled to privacy. EW Zeka says, thank you for doing these live streams. You are more than welcome. Michael says, well, it's a fact that the royal family is still a rich institution, not used to change. So Meghan has been an adjustment. Hope by now they feel comfortable. I think whenever anybody joins the royal family, it's an adjustment for the family, with accepting a new person into the family, and also the person that's joining the firm, because it is a big undertaking. And Meghan's not been here long, so it's still just almost up to her first wedding anniversary, and she's accomplished a lot in that time, but it is still a period of adjustment, and it does take many years to get accustomed to a royal life. And of course, what we're finding now is that Harry and Meghan are also trying to do things their own way, which I think is a good thing as well. So it's a period of adjustment for both sides. Claire Green says, your little girl is 6 and she is just getting into the royal family because of Meghan and Harry. She's written to the PM asking her to protect Harry and Meghan. Oh, that's so sweet. And the PM was great. Oh, did you show her the photograph of the Queen and Doria? Like I said, that's a really good photograph to show. All Sorts says, you're second to none with your high standards of reporting. Thank you so much. PJR says, how far is Kensington Palace from Buckingham Palace? Oh, not far. I mean, with London traffic, it can vary, but geographically, not terribly far. I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes in traffic, maybe. That sort of distance. HM the King says, yes, it's about 10 minutes drive. Yeah, it just depends on traffic, really. Oh, Sandra says, 48 hours to go. Wonder who gets the nil point in Eurovision. I can't wait for Eurovision. By the way, I should say now, just in case any of you missed it yesterday, I've rescheduled my weekly live chat from Saturday to Friday. So that's tomorrow. So tomorrow, I will be doing my weekly live chat. I have already set up the video. So if you want to go on it and set the reminder, then please go on there and just set the reminder. But yes, Friday, that's tomorrow at 10 p.m. GMT. So same time, just a different day, Friday. Because I want to watch Eurovision. I can't wait. See, I never watch the heats of Eurovision because I like to be surprised for the final. And Madonna is going to perform. Woohoo! Anne Lewis says, the success of this case also points to those in their offices, so-called experts and royal sources, that channels fake news or breach privacy laws. They should go after defamation of character. I mean, again, I'm leaving all that kind of thing up to them. I mean, it is their decision on what they want to do. HM the King says, Ireland will win Eurovision. I remember that chicken thing. Thank you to Maureen, who says, I love coming on here just to listen to you. You are very honest, and this 83-year-old girl appreciates you. Well, God bless to you too. Mwah! Yes, excited about their first wedding anniversary. And they've had a baby in that time. I mean, what a wonderful first year. if you ignore all the nonsense and noise that's been going on. Oh, it was a turkey. Yes. The chicken thing. Well, chickens and turkeys are very similar, aren't they? Um, Michael says Kensington, in comparison to Buckingham, looks like apartments. The Queen's Palace is the largest establishment in the world. I wonder how. I don't think it's the largest palace. Like, isn't there one in China that's bigger? Or Japan? One of those places. I think there is a huge palace. But yes, it is most certainly a very big building. No, Lady Gabriella's Windsor's wedding is not going to be televised. What we will probably see is just a series of photographs, paparazzi photographs, of the entrances and exits, and of course whatever pictures, if any, that they choose to put out themselves. So it's all I'm hoping for is arrivals and departure pictures. I don't think we're going to get much more than that, but we will see who obviously is there. Now, I know I said I'm not going live on Saturday, but I may go live just before Eurovision starts to do a who was at the wedding video, and I will include a link to the photographs and we will talk about the wedding photographs. So I probably still will do a live chat on Saturday, but it won't be my weekly live one. It'll just be a quick half hour, pop on, talk about the wedding, who was there, who wasn't there, what the dress looked like, all the rest of it. So yes, providing we do get some photographs, I will talk about them on Saturday. Yes, Jamie's. I knew it was China or Japan. The Emperor of Japan's palace is the biggest palace, and Windsor is the biggest castle and royal residence. We don't know when the christening is going to be for Archie. I mean, it's possible it could be in the summer. Maybe when the Queen's at Balmoral, they could use Craffy Kirk Church, or it could be the Chapel Royal in London, maybe more towards the sort of September, October time. But I think probably we'll see a christening before Christmas. What is Eurovision? It's a Europe singing competition where every country enters. Well, everyone tries to enter and only certain countries get through. Who is Gabriella? Lady Gabriella Windsor is the daughter of Prince and Princess Michael of Kent. Gree5, I am so glad I have helped with your laundry. I've got my own to do. Anyway, I'm going to go now because it's been 32 minutes. Hello, we have a Rory. Come on in. Are you going to say goodbye? Do we have a Molly as well? No. Just a Rory. Come here. He's lurking behind the table. Anyway, I'm going to go now, and I hope I've enlightened you all about, obviously, this whole privacy and intrusion. It's good to have an open discussion on the whole thing. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to share on social media, and also hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. So, from